There are a few caveats to this deal. This deal requires federal regulatory approval. It sounds scary, doesn't it? Because it should bring you back to some of the other deals like CBS and Skydance, Paramount, remember, where there was the question about a lawsuit, a settlement, then an approval, how messy approvals can be given the state of the government currently and where the president is in terms of liking to get involved in places that generally you wouldn't get involved. Well, it turns out that this entire deal, not only is it not fully papered, but also it requires this approval that if it doesn't get, the deal just disappears. So, we can't celebrate the completion of the deal. We can't listen to Roger Goodell tell me, specifically through an article that Mike Florio did on Pro Football Talk from a book that is coming out, where Roger Goodell said, hey, forget MLB, forget NBA. Our competitors are Apple and Google. That gave me a little angina, just hearing that, because I always viewed our competitors as the NBA and the NFL. And back a quarter century ago, the difference between valuations of franchises between the leagues was not nearly as big as it is now. So when you hear your competitor say to you, by the way, you're not even a competitor of mine anymore, that hurts. And for Roger Goodell to say to his owners privately, which that's where this quote comes from after the Super Bowl in Vegas, if you look at the article that Mike Florio did from the book that Ken Belson did, yada, yada, what Roger Goodell is saying is a truth. We're not looking to compete with Major League Baseball anymore. We're looking to compete with huge $300 billion annual revenue companies, not the $12 billion annual revenue companies. We're looking to be business to business, business to consumer. We're looking to have media assets, the whole package. Meanwhile, ESPN has work to do. They've got work to do to get this deal approved. But above that, from a fan perspective, they've got work to do to earn your $30. What are they going to have on their new DTC, direct-to-consumer app that you're going to download and stream and watch stuff on? What do they need to have that will say to you, that's a good value proposition? I like the idea of spending $30 a month or $360 a year just for this. What do I get? Well, ESPN is going to have a new digital red zone. Part of the deal with the NFL, should it go through, is they'll have the ability where if you're on your app, the $30 one, you won't need any other way to get red zone. You can get it that way. It'll be a digital red zone. But they're doing more. They're trying to get more content, which is why when you own content, you are in great shape, NFL. What content would they be looking for? Well, they're negotiating with Major League Baseball after that deal fell apart, because you can bet your sweet bipsters that the DTC for $30 a month, when there's no other games going on, they got to find content. Will they get baseball games? Will they get baseball highlights? What deal will they cut between Jimmy Pitaro and Noah Garden of MLB that will keep ESPN's DTC in the game? But they're not stopping there. They need more. They need to give you, the fan, more of a reason. Just today, and it's only right now if you're live on the Nothing Personal with David Samson YouTube channel, it's about 7:15. That's it, in the morning. If you're on DraftKings Network, thank you, it's 8:15. If you're listening to this, it could be any time, and we're thankful for you downloading and telling your friends what we're doing here. But this morning, live, there was an announcement made by Alex Sherman, CNBC, that WWE and its major live events, WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, starting in 2026, if you want to find those, don't look at NBC, look at ESPN. You see, NBC used to have a deal with the WWE. It was a 5-year deal for $180 million per year to show these live events. ESPN stepped up and said, you know what? Forget 180. How do you feel about $325 million a year, or $1.5 billion over 5 years? And WWE said, hey, NBC, thank you so much. We appreciate the relationship. See ya. And they're now going over to ESPN. Why would ESPN feel that it was necessary to double the value of these live event assets? Well, because you're paying attention, you've answered that question. And the reason is they need programming. Think about why it would be interesting to the WWE or to the NFL to actually want to take part in these sort of transactions. Why does the NFL and the WWE want to be associated with ESPN? You heard what Kraft said. We're looking to build audience. Well, think about what the head of the WWE said. This is our destiny, being on ESPN. If you want to expand the audience, our fan base, the fervor around WWE, and grow on a real significant national scale, you can't do it as it relates to the sports world without partnering with ESPN. Think about the power of that statement. Think about the synergy of ESPN taking over all of these deals, all of these sports, all of this content. Now think about why it makes sense that ESPN employs Pat McAfee, who gets to go around and he does WWE stuff. He does College Game Day stuff. He will end up doing NFL stuff. You just wait. Stephen A. Smith, same thing. This is where you have synergy. It's where you get a relationship with your audience where they are comforted knowing whether they say they're sick of the voice or not, whether they don't watch the sport or not. It's the ability to say, I know that when I want to watch something, I'm going to be watching on an ESPN platform. If I have to pay $29.99 to watch it, it makes sense for me to do it because of all of the programming I'm getting. It's all about the value proposition because guess who's paying for all of these things? You, the fan. Because the thought is that you can't live without it. Is it true? We're going to find out. But it certainly seems true given the way we all act as fans that we can't live without our live events. So ESPN gets WWE. ESPN gets NFL and assets of NFL. It's a huge day for Disney, for ESPN, for the NFL, for WWE. Meanwhile, every dog will have its day. Baseball will have its day to announce its new TV deal. NBA got its day when it announced its huge broadcast deals. But the funniest part about the end of this is think about what the NFL has in its immediate future. Not only do they get to go to market with 4 new games out of nowhere, where each game, Netflix paid like $70 million per game. So it's possible that you're looking at another $200 to $250 million for 4 games. Forget the WWE and what they have to do per year to get 325. They're no NFL. But the NFL is out marketing 4 games. And then in a few short years, the NFL has its broadcast agreements that are all up, and the NFL could opt out of a deal with its own equity partner, ESPN, and take the games to another network? That's not going to happen. You know very well the NFL is going to have to re-up with ESPN because they are now partners. It would be in the NFL's best interest to make sure that ESPN keeps the games. But will ESPN get a different rate for the games when there is a new media deal? Would the NFL charge ESPN for its slate of games? Let's say they keep and have 25 games. Would the annual rate per game be different than what they charge Netflix or Apple, where they don't have an equity stake? That's how business works. Business also works Do you think that ESPN is going to spend hours of programming each day criticizing the NFL, bringing Jerry Jones to task? Do you think that there's a possibility that the NFL will do anything? 4869, Coca. Thank you. Do you think there's a possibility that ESPN will do anything to upset its partner, the NFL? And you talk about a conflict of interest. Why do you think Bob Iger had to talk about it yesterday? And he did. Listen to this statement by the CEO of Disney and realize what horse hockey it is. Bob Iger maintained nothing in this deal in any way changes ESPN's approach when it comes to journalism. If you're Don Van Natta and you have written articles in the past critical of the NFL, if you have glommed on to Pablo Torre Finds Out and you have done investigating where the NFL looks like that it's done some, shall we say, nefarious things, you think that they're re-upping his contract? And I really don't want to stop someone from earning a living. But if you're Don, you don't think that you're looking around and saying, there used to be a relationship that concerned me, but at least it wasn't in writing. Now there's a relationship that is solidified, pending regulatory approval, obviously, but a relationship that exists in a way that there's no way that I've got freedom of the press. And that is obviously a word of art that wouldn't apply here, but there is no way that I will have the ability to do the investigative work that I do. You think that when MLB negotiates with ESPN that it's not a factor that NFL will get more minutes on whatever it is, SportsCenter, ancillary programming. ESPN and the NFL are now married officially in a way they never were before. That will bleed from coverage to the type of coverage, to the tone of coverage, to the amount of coverage. All of that is going to be part and parcel to a deal when you've got the NFL and ESPN getting together. Which means, if it were another industry, the government has stopped deals that smell like this before. Because the government can say, well, that doesn't seem good for the consumer. That doesn't seem fair. That seems like it could violate antitrust. And they would be right. Do they have the guts to stop this agreement? Do they have the pettiness to stop this agreement? It's one of the great business. This will be one of the great business wait to sees that we've seen in sports in the last quarter century at least. What will happen with this transaction?